track.
So the scenes that you're seeing right now is kind of deceptive, except for the MagnaFlow canopy you're seeing flopping around. That's a pretty good indication of the winds we have. But other than that, it's still pretty adverse conditions these guys are out there running in.
Yeah, even with a race suit on, I mean, you'd think you'd be nice and warm. Generally, actually, to be honest, inside the UTVs, they're quite warm, even on a cold day. But so it's kind of, I don't know, it's got to be interesting being in the car with that wind howling through. That I think they'd still be feeling the cold out there.
Even with the weather the way it is today, I've noticed that there was a lot of people walking around here, walking around the pits and everything.
Yeah, it's good to see actually. When we just popped outside for a quick break, there's a lot of people just checking things out, and of course there's a couple of race cars kind of moving about the place, and people are checking them out, which is good to see.
And we had quite a few people sitting around the fire pit, even though there's no fire right now. But there's a lot of people there at the fire pit watching the jumbotron.
That's
up on
awesome.
the stage right now, yeah. So
Thank you,
kudos to
guys.
them. They're right out there in the elements, the wind, the rain, and what they're calling for snow in about 2.5 or 3 hours.
Maybe they will light the fire then.
Phil Blurton on the track right now. Our first car to hit the track was a session number 4, I'm sorry. No, wait, I'm sorry. That's actually Ben Jones. Ben Jones on the track.
What's your prediction if you think we're going to get some rain, Scott? What do you think? It's going to get worse or it's going to help?
I'm going to guess that it depending on how much rain, I think it's going to get better. I really do. Right now, everything is soft and fluffy from being kicked up.
Absolutely.
Especially in the rutted area. And with any kind of significant rain, it's going to kind of pack that down a little bit and provide a little bit more traction.
I think
right now, imagine being a little kid with a Tonka toy in a sandbox. And it's all fluffy and pushing it around and things like that. Then throw a bucket of water in the sand, and you're kind of like running around on top of a beach. So, I mean, that's my guess, but I'm by any means, I'm not educated enough to make any kind of accurate prediction.
I think it'll be a fine line. If it rains, the track's going to get good. If it rains too much, well, it's going to get very messy. Again, we see them lifting that wheel on the entrance to this corner. He's taking the inside line. Seems to be the popular choice, even though it is rutted out, and it's like they're dragging skid pans out there.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, a few drivers have taken that line to the right in this section right here, and it's almost like, do they realize, other drivers realize you can go to the outside, in that spot? Because so many take that hugely rutted area.
It may also be that when they come up to it and when they throw into that corner, there may be a bit of a lip there that they're worried they'll lose time climbing out of to get on that outside line. Look at that, Hammertown has expanded. It's looking really, really good.
Even from this morning. Heck, even from noon.
Got to say a big thanks to everyone on the Ultra 4 staff that are helping out, getting these people in there. It's been quite a smooth operation.
Yeah, Ben Jones right now, I won't say he was timid, but he was being fairly careful right there in that section, and he probably lost at least 1.5 to 2 seconds to some of the faster guys just by doing that. But again, I kind of think that he's probably one of these guys that's saving his car for tomorrow's race.
I think he realized that because it looked like he threw it in pretty good coming back into the final jump, into the finish line.
So, and Ben Jones qualifies at the time of 3:04.9. 3:04.9 for Ben Jones. And that'll put him in the 38th qualifying position as of right now. On the track right now, Luis Gallardo in the 923.
It was quite crazy when we turned up here about 6 days ago. None of the short course was here. The boys were out there working away, and they've just transformed it into something that is quite amazing to see on camera.
You know, this takes about 3 weeks to set up the Hammertown, get the logistics in place. But in a matter of, what, 10 days,
yep,
you'll never know we're here.
Yeah.
Outside of a few tracks in the sand, that's about it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
To the man hours and the effort that this group of guys put together, or a group of people, I should say, that Dave put together just to manhandle this thing.
Yeah. No, Dave's definitely got a very good crew around here.
He's got a pretty good high degree of motivational factors.
Absolutely.
Now it looks like Luis Gallardo is one of the few drivers out there that actually has a co-driver with him too. I've noticed a lot of guys, and I think almost everybody, has been in the car by themselves, single seat or not, and Luis has somebody with him.
Yeah, it's interesting that I have been looking at that, and sometimes it's good to have that kind of weight ballast on the other side, and sometimes it doesn't help you at all. So I guess you got to know whether you're comfortable with the weight balance of just having one driver, or to have two in there and sort of throw it in a little harder on the opposite corners.
Well, slightly different exit coming down the hill right there. First driver and quite a few that took that inside line, that sharp right-hand turn.
It's almost like, what, in between a 45 and a 90-degree turn to throw it into that. So it takes a lot of commitment to get through it.
And he'll qualify in the 40th spot with a time of 308.89, 308.89 for Luis Gallardo in the 923. And Kevin Hart on the course in the 773. It'll be the 44th car to come out. We're getting close to that halfway.
We've still got a little way to go, but yes, definitely getting close to the halfway point, which is going to be interesting to see if it's a turning point. Whether, like we were saying earlier, possibly a little bit too early, that the track conditions were slowing these guys down. We don't want to be caught out again.
Wow, you see that car just being punched sideways from bouncing off rocks. I mean, just almost vertical.
That's definitely when tire choice and tire pressures come into play. Whether you drive out the other side of that with all the air in the tire, or whether all the air goes to the top of the tire.
So Kevin Hart's approaching the top of the hill, goes underneath the arches, heading down, coming down into Hammertown. And he'll cross the start-finish line, and we'll see what he has for a time. Let's see. And Kevin Hart qualifies in that 33rd spot with a time of 2:55.20. 2:55.20. He'll be 33rd. Out on the course now for their one-lap qualifying is Michael Sawyer in the 49.05.
Got to say, these guys are doing a fantastic job out there with the drones. I still can't believe they've got them in the air. The wind is howling out here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, before we signed on this morning, I was watching one of the pilots practice, and he set it out in the open and took it up into the air. And this is when it was the windiest. Thing was steady as can be. He was getting fantastic shots. I was kind of like leaning over his shoulder a little bit because he was working with an iPad flying this thing.
Yep.
And the pictures were so steady.
Yeah, it makes a big difference when you get to those big commercial drones. They just do what they're intended to, and you can kind of put them anywhere in any condition almost.
Whoa! This is what we talked about for so long. That's the spot that you've been saying from the moment that that area is getting rutted up. It's probably got to be about a 2.5, 3 foot rut on the right side of that course, and right now Michael Sawyer had no choice. He had nowhere to go. I mean, he tried turning into it.
Definitely tried to save it, but if anyone was going to have a lie down, that was going to be the spot.
And I don't think he was going fast enough to hurt anything, but maybe his ego a little bit. But hopefully nothing in the right front suspension area got bent or broke. But you and I have been talking about that from the very first car to come out here. There is a line that goes to the right side, just off the screen, right about where that Jeep is going, that is much smoother but much longer. And it's almost like no one really knew that line was there, because we've only seen, out of 45 cars that come on a course so far, 2 or 3 take that line.
I think possibly it's just that track is just too burnt in, and so the problem is he's trying to come around the corner and he'll see that offshoot at the last second, and when he goes to turn into it, it almost looks too much. So he carries on up. Unfortunately, this time the trail fought back.
Exactly. Well, just a moment ago you saw our top 10 in qualifying so far to this point, and our course workers going to work right now. Michael Sawyer. We're going to take a quick break and come back in just a moment with everything hopefully cleaned up and our next car on course. Once again, we're here at Johnson Valley. It's the 2019 King of the Hammers qualifying for UTVs. We'll be right back.
We didn't just test the new Optima Yellow Top with Pure Flow technology, we tortured it. King of the Hammers is 181 battery-killing miles of relentless, unforgiving hellishness. It's one thing to call yourself the ultimate power source, it's another thing to prove it. The all-new Optima Yellow Top with Pure Flow technology with up to 3 times the battery life. Unsurpassed performance built to fit today's vehicles. Optima, the ultimate power source.
And we're back here to Johnson Valley as the work continues. Boy, talk about being in a precarious position. We're still working on getting Michael Sawyer righted and back off the track. But now let's take a look at our top 10 just a moment ago. Currently, as we stand in qualifying, Jeff McKinley had a nice run. Dustin Jones, Knox Griffin, Paul Hart. Shannon Campbell, kind of surprising. I thought he'd be a little bit closer to the front running that early in qualifying. Austin Whalen, Sarah Price, still very, very impressive. She was one of the first ones to come out here, but she still kicked off a great lap time. Jason Weller, I believe, was the first driver on the track, if I remember right. He was one of the first ones, but he had a really good time. And it stood there for, 37 cars, I think?
Yep.
Yeah, but then Ronnie Anders came out here and blitzed the course, and about 2-3 cars later, Kyle Cheney just nailed the course, the 221.4 in his Can-Am. So once again, there's our top 10 in times, and it looks like we finally got Michael Sawyer up on all four, and now he's got to see if he can get out of there without going over on the side again. And here's our, as we stand right now, 11 through 20 in qualifying. Raul Gomez is in our top 20 with a 242.4. Trey McKinley, Jake Hollenbeck, Scott Lesage, Nicholas Turner, Phil Blurton. Kind of thought he'd be a little bit closer to the top two because he's usually one of our fast guys. Ross Pilgreen, Bailey Campbell had a nice run. But then look at the time here. It says they kind of rounded up the numbers, but they are actually 2/100ths of a second separation between Whalen and Bailey Campbell. And Michael Lee right now stands in the 11th spot. So let's see. We're still, boy, right now, yeah, a lot of that oil must have kind of went to the wrong part of the motor that they were wanting it to be. That's why all that smoke is.
Yeah, the top end will be nice and clean now, well lubricated. It looked like that did a nice quick recovery, pulled out the worn winch and got him back on his wheels and headed in the right direction to get back here.
And this is really, to be honest with you, this is really nothing unusual in this form of motorsports. On race day, this would happen, but then, which is par for the course, you'd probably have 15, 20, 25 cars backed up behind them waiting for help to get righted and back underway. But that's what makes this sport, the dramatic scenes you see in some of these videos of these cars that are rolled over. And some, I've seen, I forget who it was that was upside down, completely upside down, like trapped between boulders.
Playing turtle.
And basically became a ramp, and people were driving right over the top of the car.
It makes life easy for some.
I can't remember if that was 4 or 5 years ago. I forget who it was even.
Wow.
But made for, oh, there we go. There's the Gordon cars we were talking about. That Robbie Gordon was scheduled to come out here right around 2 o'clock. There's the number 77. And in an identically prepared car, I believe right in front of him, should be Bailey Cole. They're going to be qualifying back-to-back. So that is going to be a really interesting thing to see. Talk about a controlled environment in an uncontrolled environment, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You got two identically prepared cars, two drivers with obviously distinctly different driving styles. Which one's going to be quicker on this course?
For sure. I do know that Bailey spends a lot of time out here playing around in the rocks. Whether that helps him on a short course, I don't think so. But it's going to be interesting because they have two very good drivers.
Actually, Robbie's going to have 3 cars out here this weekend. Not exactly sure who's in the third one. I can't remember. But there's going to be 3 Speed Energy cars out here.
Including the T1?
From Robbie Gordon Motorsports and Textron. So if there's nothing wrong mechanically, we'll see Michael Sawyer out here tomorrow for the race, but he'll be starting in the back of the pack, which is going to make for a very long day. Looks like Michael Sawyer chooses to actually finish his qualifying lap. So kudos to him, you know. It's basically pre-running now. You know, it's only, what, a half mile of the race course, but still it's a half mile that now he knows a little bit more about going in tomorrow's racing action.
This is true. You got to always look for that silver lining, especially when something like that happens.
Glass half full, man. Glass is always half full.
That's it. Look at that course. That looks good.
So it looks like we have 1 car at the line and 4 in staging. Cars off the line in qualifying. Oh, just to let all the race fans know back at home, wherever you're at, whether it be the UK or New Zealand or someplace in the States, Hollywood, Jim Marsden just shows up. Hollywood's in the house. I've got a picture of him changing clothes, and he's almost buck naked. Where were we? We were at Nationals 2 years ago. You were buck naked almost, changing clothes, putting something warm on. He's a lot prettier with his clothes on. It's gonna be a long week, Jimmy. I've been saving this for a year. Yeah. Last year, right this moment, at this moment, I was in a hospital bed in traction on my laptop, just totally bagging on Jimmy. Oh, another driver, another car up on 2 wheels through that rutted section. These guys, oh man, again up on 2 wheels. 3 different times that uphill section, and you can see how loose it is too now. Not only is it rutted, but it's completely loose dirt and gravel. And there's some struggling going on getting up that section.
Definitely going to start catching people out. The faster they try and go around there, the worse it's going to get them.
Typical Hollywood fashion. Shows up, gets his swag. I'm out of here. Leaves. He's here. It's a long flight for a couple of sweatshirts, man. Ryan Webb had a couple of scary moments there on the back section. And he's being pretty aggressive right now.
You see him? He still lifted a wheel going around that corner. It's just one of those tight corners that, with a little bit of momentum, it just wants to throw you out the other side.
Yeah, and the chassis, the wheelbase, the stance of that car is so much smaller than a lot of them that we've seen out there.
Looks like we got another Can-Am out there.
So Ryan Webb crosses the line with a time of 250.03, 250.03, and that puts him in the 31st position. Ryan Webb in our top 30. Andrew Walker on the course, the number 91.
Oh, we have a rollover. That is not how you want to finish your day.
Started.
Or started.
So obviously he was going for it right from the get-go. There was no holding back. He'd seen some of the times, and a lot of these guys are able to what 20 cars ago, Ronnie
Yep.
Anderson qualified. So they're probably sitting inside their motor coaches and and watching this on the laptop, and they saw the lines. They saw the aggression, how hard they were hitting things. And so now they come out and they're able to do this. So once again, we can see our recovery crew on the track. Going to be obviously using one of those Warren winches, maybe 2 of them, to get the car back on all fours.
Looks like we've got the KOH JL out there doing recoveries.
Well, let's take a look at our top 20 graphics once again to keep everybody up to date with what's going on. There's been a few changes, but not a lot lately. Here's our top 10. Jeff McKinley, Dustin Jones, Knox Griffin, Paul Hart, Shannon Campbell. Our second 5, our first 5, Austin Whelan, Sarah Price, great run from her this morning. Jason Weller, Ronnie Anderson, and Kyle Cheney. Kyle's got to be like the dark horse almost.
Absolutely.
And if we take a peek at our next 10, 11 through 20, there's our boys there. Raul Gomez in the 240, running at 242.4 at 20th spot. Trey McKinley, Jake Hallenbach, Scott Lesage, Nicholas Turner, Matt Zeller they're in the top 15. Ross Green, Bailey Campbell, Waylon Campbell, and Lee Michael. And I wonder if we're going to see times like Waylon Campbell and Bailey Campbell from Bailey Cole and Robbie Gordon. With the
that'd be interesting. We definitely.
I'm really looking forward to that. That's like 1-2 cars away yet from qualifying, but that's our top 20 as of right now, with 46 cars that have hit the track qualifying today. Well, while we're working on Andrew Walker, we're going to take a quick break and let all our fans know that's watching us on Facebook that we give us about 3-4 minutes. We're about to time out, so give us 3-4 minutes. Hit refresh. We'll be right back. In the meantime, grab something quick to eat, something to drink, something to snack on. We'll be right back after a few minutes.
Go inside. Cozy up to the fire. Stay warm. Some call that a nice winter day. We'll have to agree to disagree.
Your bearings shoulder the burden whenever you tow, haul, or stop the gas. AMSOIL delivers powerful protection for bearings and other critical components so you can drive with confidence. To demonstrate, an independent lab put AMSOIL synthetic motor oil head-to-head against a leading competitor in a 100,000-mile test. AMSOIL provided far superior wear protection and kept engine bearings looking like new. Get your truck the protection it deserves at amsoil.com/auto.
Steel-It polyurethane coating is proven protection. The stainless steel formulation shields against corrosion and protects against the toughest terrain. It's weldable, so there's no need to remove the coating. Just weld right on it. Go to steel-it.com for more.
Go further. Go safer. Gasoline transfer tanks for Jeeps, SUVs, pre-runners, and chase trucks. Tanks made in the USA, backed by a lifetime warranty. Includes an easy-to-use shaker siphon that transfers over 2 gallons per minute. Proven tough in the deserts of Baja, the trails of Moab, all the way to the race course. Venture further. Visit TitanFuelTanks.com today.
Boy, talk about timing. Dead spot on right there.
Good to see him sunny side up.
Andrew Walker getting a hand. Is that JT?
It's possible. The boys at Twisted Monkey Racing, they'll be upset about
I guess I could live with rolling over. I guess I could also live with a track crew coming out to roll me back onto my wheels, but I sure can't live with the fact one of them could be JT Taylor. Just by what his comments might be as he walked up and looked at me inside upside down. So it looks like Andrew's back underway. He'll not sure if he'll just call it quits and just drive it in, or actually, yeah, he's just.
Andrew and his co-driver Josh England are actually racing later on in the week as well. They've got their other rig out here, so it's going to be good to see them redeem themselves tomorrow and then get a bit of seat time before they race later in the week.
Did you have a chance to talk to him about both classes?
I sort of did, sort of didn't. We just caught up quickly around the Tribe fire pit out there, and they were saying that they were going out pre-running today, and I believe they had like a couple of small niggly issues just when they were tuning and stuff. So it'd be good to see them out there racing. Unfortunately, they're going to be starting at the back.
So that's 3 cars now, I think, that weren't able to finish their qualifying effort. So we have 3 cars that are now just going to pull off to the side and end up in the back. The 931. Let's see who that is. The KMC wheel clock is now ticking as well.
Looks like we got.
So Craig Scanlon just takes the clock. Very nice looking Polaris, man. Showing some pretty good speed right now through the, I guess you call it through the rhythm section, the whoops a little bit.
And the key is with those whoops is to try and go as fast as you can to get up on top of them. Makes the ride a whole lot smoother.
Top, yeah. Looks like the wind may have died down a little bit. The dust, I should say. Now this is where we're going to notice a lot here. The ruts through here, the rocks. A lot of the guys are just bouncing side to side just off the rocks. Man, looking really good so far.
I've got to say, that's one of the first guys I've seen through there that has not lifted a wheel on the entrance to that corner.
Wow. There is something happening on this lap. If he can keep it together and keep that same speed, that same momentum going, this should be a top 5 run right here. Yeah, it's getting really, really, really bad there. We got one more tough section to go through. I think that'll tell us everything. Telling you, I'm watching that KMC Wheels timer, and he's looking pretty good.
He's doing a fantastic job as he comes up around that Jeep arch. It's going to be interesting to see which line he takes. Now, as you guys can see the KMC Wheels clock on the screen, we're going to remind you that is unofficial times, but it gives you a very good idea on where these guys are at.
Yeah, that's so Craig Scanlon will cross the line right there. He'll trip the clock.
It sounds like a Textron, and that also looked almost like it had speed energy on the side of it.
So Craig Scanlon, time of 2:46.41. That'll put him 28. He looked a lot faster than 28. I don't know how deceiving that can be. So Scanlon, 2:46.41. Qualifies in that 28 spot to this point. And Cole Bailey This is an identically prepared car to
Robbie's.
Yeah, identically prepared car to what I believe Robbie's right behind him, or within 1 or 2 car.
So it's going to be interesting to see how Bailey does out here. Definitely compared to Robbie Gordon, they're in identical vehicles. They got different wraps on them. And for those at home that don't know, Bailey is actually Dave Cole's son. Does very well out here racing in the other classes, so it's good to see him trying something a little bit different in the UTV, driving a unfamiliar vehicle.
Appears to be wider than a lot of the cars we've seen.
It certainly looks like it. Going by the sticker on the side, it looks like the one that Max has been racing, Robbie Gordon's son.
So far, so good. This is where it's got to be hard to steer through here. Oh, yeah, look at that. The track is not as wide as the width of the car, so it's pitching them side to side. The car doesn't know which trail to ride down in. And what's it going to be like when he gets to that one rutted uphill section?
That's one that seems to catch everyone, but he's doing a very good job at navigating this thing around. It is super wide. When you're strapped in, you got your harness on, you know, you got your helmet on, it's very hard to actually see the outside of your vehicle, so he's doing a good job.
And he takes that inside line. Very few guys have done that. Keeps it tight. Little slow on the downhill right there.
That little kicker again that kind of gets them halfway down that that little hill.
But Cole Bailey will complete his run. We'll see what time he has.
Looks like we've got Robbie Gordon on the course. This is going to get very interesting. Keep an eye on that KMC Wheels clock, and we will see what's going to go on out there. Looks like Robbie's taking quite a smooth, cruisy approach to this.
He's not, I don't think he's out at 100% right there. Didn't seem like it.
It really does not look like true Robbie style of cruising along.
One of those deceptive speed runs, it looks like here.
Yeah, he looks very smooth out there. He doesn't look like he's driving to the typical Robbie pace. He's just taking the conservative approach, I guess, picking his lines.
And we just got a time on Bailey Cole. Time of 2:43.56. That'll put him 24th quick. 2:43.56 in the top 25 in qualifying. And now watching for Robbie's time.
Now, of course, Robbie's just fresh back in the country, isn't he, after the Dakar?
Yeah, it didn't have too good of a run out there again this year.
I can't say
just
I
all
followed
kinds
it.
of gremlins biting.
Oh.
Whether it be navigational or mechanical, he was just seemed like he had an issue almost every single day.
That's a shame. Taking it very easy through the Jeep arch.
And Robbie Gordon will cross the line in that 31st qualifying position with a time of 2:47.21. 2:47.21 for Robbie Gordon, qualifies in that 31st position. And Bailey Cole qualifies 21st, an identically prepared car.
I guess do we owe Bailey Cole a congratulations, because we were wondering who was going to come out on
The
top
young
there for
guns
a
going
minute.
after the old man. Did I just say Robbie Gordon as an old man? Is the concept? It's just hard to comprehend.
You might be able to get away with that one. I don't think I can.
The elder veteran.
Experienced.
There you go. But yeah.
Looks like we got Brent Zimmerman out on the course at the moment. He's doing all right.
I think we're going right back to what we had at issue about midpoint in the first half of the qualifying runs. Are the track is now starting to reach up and grab these guys again and kind of beating them up a little bit.
It's looking like it.
You know, then we had 2 or 3 guys that just like rose above that issue and ran killer times, and now we're right back to the guys that seem to be struggling a little bit on this beat up track.
Little bit of trouble heading out the top of that, and it's interesting to see that these guys are starting to take that right-hand line, which is going to be somewhat of an easier trip up, although it's slightly longer. It's going to be interesting to see how that wears in after a few more do that line.
Boy, those colors sort of pop on the screen, huh?
Yeah, that yellow certainly stands out in the crowd.
Just a few over 100 cars running this year in the UTV event.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Getting a little bit squirrely going down there. It was a nice save, actually. That started going sideways real quick.
Robert Croy takes a green flag. He's out qualifying now, and oh boy, are those water droplets.
Looks like it, Scott. Looks
Oh,
like the
man.
weather's starting to set in. At least it's not snowing yet.
We had our 50th car in qualifying on course right now.
Almost halfway. I'm surprised this wash hasn't chewed out a lot more. You know, the car's getting thrown around, you'd think it would dig it out a little bit, but it seems to be wearing all right. It's just this corner that's catching everyone out.
Let's see where he runs right through here. He'll go to the outside. There we go. Yeah, I think there may have been some communication in the pits beforehand for a bunch of these guys now about that specific area.
You reckon they were sitting in front of the Jumbotron? Now, it's hard to imagine that our race leader, Kyle Cheney, in his Can-Am, finished over 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, I was thinking about that about 5 minutes ago, looking at the times and the comparisons of what they're running now and what he ran. And I didn't want to bring it up, but you're right. I
He
mean,
was moving.
It doesn't seem realistic that it happened, but it did. And in a track that wasn't a whole lot better than what it was now, or what it is now.
No, exactly. He certainly put on a blazing run.
Daniel Markley, the car on the track right now, taking the green flag.
Daniel definitely got a bit of pace on. That was a bit of airtime he had back there, and he looks like he's done quite well through the whoops.
So they're right around 30 seconds. They're hitting that last jump before they head out of Hammertown. So kind of use that as at least the first gauge.
That's our split timer, is it?
If you want to call it that, yeah. Yeah. Unofficial split time. Tell you, Daniel Markley's not looking all that bad right now.
I definitely think that right-hand line's been burnt in a little bit more, so it seems a bit more user-friendly now.
Once again, we're watching Daniel Markley in the latter portion of his qualifying lap. This is actually the first event of our two-day Can-Am kickoff to the week.
I have a feeling it's going to be a very, very good week. Plenty of action coming out. We've got the shootout coming later in the week. We've got the Everyman Challenge coming up. And of course, the grand finale, the main race. Looks like we've got a bit of a custom machine out here.
And Daniel Markley crosses the line with a time of 2:50.05. He'll put him in the 36th qualifying position. Is Chase Caprera is out on course. And there's one jump, and I believe there's one more as they head out, right? No, that was it. So he's a little bit off the pace of Markley, who was out there before. He hit it right at the right around the 30-second mark.
Yep.
Chase just hit it right around 42 seconds. So
I believe Chase's father, Brian, is racing out there in the 4400.
Mm-hmm.
Team Rock Rage.
Boy, it does have that little 4400 look, huh?
It really does. It is quite a good looking little machine.
So this is a 52nd car to qualify here today. Chase Caprera in the 1481.
He's certainly thrown that thing around through the rocks. He's taking the left line.
I'd almost have to say that that'd be the preferred line if I was to be out there from.
I think so. It's a very, very sharp turn in if you take that inside line. He's looking good on the home stretch.
Well, I gotta say, it didn't look that fast. Another one of those guys that didn't look fast at all, but he's in the top 15. Probably the best run we've seen from somebody in quite some time.
Absolutely.
Chase Caprera sits 12th right now in the top 15 with a time of 2:36.34. 2:36.34. Chase Caprera right now 12th in qualifying. And on the course right now, the 53rd car to qualify is Christopher Vasky. He's out there in a Polaris.
Now, for any of you guys out there that are braving the cold around Hammertown, and you're sick of watching us or hearing us and watching the action on the Jumbotron, I do advise you go down and do the Can-Am demo ride before the snow that we're supposed to be getting comes, because that'll be an icy ride.
Looks like Chris was able to put together, kind of looks like the family Polaris Razor, the family UTV.
The four-seater?
Made it safety, got it rules complacent for this, and came out here to run with the rest of the guys.
It looks good. Kind of got that desert racing style light bar mount on the top.
Mm-hmm. Looks like we got another car being turned loose for qualifying. Will be our 54th car to take the track. So it looks like we have Chris McDaniel out on the course. Our last qualifier, Chris Vasky, was he actually qualified 52nd. He had a time of 3:23.85. 3:23.85, and right now we have Chris McDaniel on the course.
Taking the slower approach through the Jeep Arch.
Hubert Rowland heads out on a course in the 6:15.
Looked like that jump sort of unsettled him a little bit for that lining up the corner. Seemed to go into it nice and gentle and took that high exit.
Actually, I stand corrected. I believe that's Drew Herderman out there as the second car on the course. Hubert Rowland is the first car. You can see how they're dancing around on the course when it's so rutted that they're kind of bouncing from side to side into a rut, then bounce the other side to the other rut, and then just keep going back and forth. You know the conditions are getting pretty hairy out there.
It's certainly chewed out a lot, and that can be the difference in how your wheels lock up and provide traction to the ground, is when it creates that undulation with the wheels spinning at different times. It's just one of those things you kind of just have to hang on for the ride and find your balance.
Jim Henley takes the green flag.
Looks like he's throwing it in pretty hard. Jim left the line pretty solid. He was in a rush to get somewhere.
What I like about watching these K&Ms is the setup a lot of the guys seem to have is the weight transfer.
Yeah.
When they're hitting the brakes, you can see them just dive in the front. When they're on the throttle, you can see them just squat in the back and side to side in the turns.
Yeah.
So that tells me that they're working with these shocks and getting the setup where, much like a lot of race cars, especially short course, they only handle like that when you're going flat out pedal to the metal the whole way. I mean, you can't half throttle some of these race cars because you're just skating around on ice, kind of that concept. And the only time they really handle well is when you're heavy on the throttle and heavy on the brake.
Absolutely. I mean, some of these guys go as far as corner weighting, so they get scales and they put one under each wheel, and then they can set their balance. It certainly helps them when they're building these machines to try and balance everything out and then get the weight distribution right, and then they can tune the shocks better from that. And you're right, some of these things, if you try and drive them slowly, not only does it beat up the driver, but it's hard on everything, because everything just wants to be, everything wants to have that maximum pressure on it so that it can soften up.
No, it doesn't take a lot of moisture, and I say moisture, I mean rain, to slicken the rocks on this downhill section. It can just, that top layer of just enough dirt to change the color, and it kind of rolls up a little bit, and it just, that top, like not even a quarter inch, it just gets so skatey, and these guys are having issues. You know, they try to brake a little bit, and all of a sudden it slides sideways somewhat.
Do we call that a disadvantage or an advantage if they're coming downhill and they're slipping off them faster?
I kind of think I'd rather be accelerating downhill than on the brake downhill. You know.
It's a good call. A little bit of a rough ride coming down through the Jeep arch, isn't it?
Jim Henley crosses the line with a time of 2:48.80. 2:48.80. That'll put him 35th quick for the afternoon as we get ready for our next qualifier. Looks like, is it one of the speed cars?
Kind of looks like it.
It's definitely a Textron.
Number 805 by the look of it.
I was told there's going to be 3 speed cars on the track, or on qualified today.
Looks like Mark Morrisoli.
Yeah, an 805. Definitely looks like an Arctic Cat.
I think you're right. I'm not too sure if it's one of the ones out of Robbie Gordon's stable or not.
Yeah, probably. I'm kind of guessing at this point, probably not.
Doesn't look bright enough.
Don't think he's got the same suspension components where the car's that wide.
This is true. Let's see how Mark does coming through the wash.
It's definitely a nice, clean car. Not one of Robbie's.
You can see it starting to chew out just at that top section there. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes with another 20 rigs go through it.
So we got Mark Marisoli on the track right now in the 805. Well, it looks like he's just one of those drivers that's not necessarily taking his time, but being easy on his equipment. Looking forward to tomorrow.
They've got a lot of rocks to go through tomorrow, so you want everything in the best condition you can possibly bring to the table.
With as less work tonight as possible.
That too. Definitely think we must be almost bang on the halfway point for the Can-Am kickoff. We're getting through them quite well. Things are flowing and it's working very, very well out there.
Yeah, I'd say we lucked out pretty well. Lucked out very well with the weather situation, so we're doing very well. Mother Nature, thank you. You teased us.
Yeah.
See, Mark Marsoli crosses the line. See what we get for a time from him, and I believe that's Tanner. No, it says right now Tanner Stevens is on the track.
Once again, we've got to thank all of the hard-working Ultra 4 staff and volunteers out there. Without them, this could not happen, and they are doing a fantastic job.
Actually, that's Josh Smith that just took the green flag. We have yet to get a time on Mark Marisoli.
I haven't seen anyone take that left line for a while.
You know, I'm kind of thinking that it appears that his car is a little stiffer in the suspension. You know, the shock seem a little bit more stiff. And as we go on from this point on, that might be the setup to go with. Because we were watching a lot of guys with a softer suspension, kind of like just plowing and deep into the ruts.
Yep.
And the stiffer suspension seems to be skipping across the top.
Yeah, again, it's a hard one because if your suspension's too stiff, it's all right in the short course, but once you get out there for a big, long day, you're going to get beat up.
This would be a different setup than what you would run on race day, obviously, but it just appears that this seems to be working for him.
Really hope all our viewers are enjoying the use of the KMC Wheels clock. It is certainly making life easy to try and keep up on the play-by-plays and seeing what's going on.
Yeah, it looks like he'll be someplace in the high 40s as far as qualifying. Paul Kraut takes the green flag. He's out on the track.
Looks like Paul Kraut making not bad time out there.
And Paul Kraut crosses the line in his qualifying lap will put him in the 40th qualifying position. Time of 2:53.81, 2:53.81 for Paul Kraut. And Randy Gillette is now on the track. I believe this is the first single-seat players we've seen here this afternoon, isn't it?
I believe so. I don't recall seeing any others come through.
As the window screens flapping in the breeze.
You got to hope that's still going to be there when you get to the finish line, otherwise that's a long walk.
Looks like he's being flagged.
Now, it is a safety requirement that you do have your window nets up, so very good job done by the marshals out there.
So that'll cost him drastically.
Definitely not the result he wanted, but safety has to come first, and it is very good to see everyone out there doing their job.
Well, looks like he's going to just cash it in right there and assume he'll assume back roll starting position come tomorrow. Tanner Stevens takes the green flag. He's underway. Or it's Anthony Yount.
Looks like Anthony's out there battling through that left-hand side. Definitely getting chopped out, but he seemed to get through there all right, pretty unscathed. Didn't slow him down too much.
It looks like the whole key to running that line is to get a lot of speed built up and momentum right through it.
Yeah.
As compared to just like using pure traction. Use a lot of the momentum and just carry yourself through that.
Yeah, it's definitely, you have to be fully committed in that kind of corner. You back off halfway, it's going to throw all your weight out and you'll end up having a wee lie down. Now, for any of you at home that have just joined us, welcome to Hammertown. And this is the 2019 Can-Am King of the Hammers UTV qualifying presented by HCR. And everything has been going quite smoothly out here today.
John Duckworth takes a green flag. He's underway. So with John Duckworth on the course right now, we were just informed that Randy Jelliff will be getting another pass. So he'll be coming back into qualifying line and getting another run at it. So John Duckworth comes across the line.
Do I see correctly? We got another Gomez out there?
Yeah, that's JP Gomez taking the green flag. Checkers or wreckers, that's that boy right there.
Hold on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen. He's got some good pace coming through the wash.
Yeah, he's got a very good pace going on right now. I wonder how much grief he was getting from the other three that I qualified earlier today, and what would happen after this event. Takes a different line, but you gotta like really be fast through that to make up for that little extra gap that you lose by taking the outside line.
It's one of those risk management. When you come into it hot, you got to figure out which one you want real quick. Got that big sharp rock sitting in the middle now.
Tell you, he's gonna have to get on it. Cause you know how the Gomez guys are. They race one with each other as well.
Yep.
As the rest of the field.
So what do you think? It's beers on JP tonight?
Now let's see. We got.
Oh, he slowed down a lot coming through the arch.
Raul Gomez was in the 21st spot. Marcos in the 36th. Let's see where JP's at. Darian's in the 55th spot. And it looks like the top Gomez this afternoon in qualifying will be Raul Gomez, number 83. He's 21st. JP finishes with a 245.75. 245.75 for JP Gomez. That'll put him 28th quick in the field. I think you're still doing pretty good when you have over 100 cars. And if you're in the top third, you still have a pretty good shot on race day.
Absolutely. But the day is not over just yet.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Aaron Clark on the track right now.
Aaron Clark in the 1009 car picked his way up the hill quite nicely. Now to see how he does the downhill. and gets back to Hamilton.
I think we're in the portion of the qualifying order where a lot of the drivers, they come out with an idea in their head of how they want to run qualifying and probably kind of go all out. And then once they get to the part of the course where it's all rutted up, you know what? Let's just, back it down just a tad.
I was just thinking the
save
same.
the car for tomorrow. I think right now the course is what's warranting the driver's decision after they get on the course as compared to pre-planning it.
Yeah. I mean, the course is getting chewed, but that's to be expected. And I guess these guys are mentally preparing themselves while they're sitting there with all their gear on. They're going through what they think the best line's going to be, but until you actually get there, you're never going to know.
So once again, Tanner Stevens is on the course right now, just taking the green flag. He's still in the short course, getting ready to head out into the back section.
Looks like Aaron Clark made it back to Hammertown in 3 minutes 11:67, which leaves him in 60th position.
Did you happen to have a chance to look at the power hour? Some of the lineup of the drivers involved in that.
I haven't yet, no.
Well, it's right there on the list, man. It's pretty stout. Some of the biggest names in all of off-road racing, not just Ultra 4.
Let me have a look at this.
Diesel's back here licking his chops at the names in power hour.
We got Casey Scherer coming out in this Can-Am. I believe he's a Can-Am factory driver.
We're still watching Tanner Stevens coming into the short course area in just a moment, finishing up his qualifying lap. He's out there in the 68.51. I believe that's a Polaris.
That power hour is going to be a good time. We got Lauren Healy. We got the Guthries. We got the Greaves. We got Cody Curry coming out. I'm in. Definitely going to watch it. Oh, what a good save that was. Oh, he stopped. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We got smoke. Looks like Todd Fry's stopped. Bit of smoke came out. Interesting enough, it looks like he was in one of those long wheelbase chassis, and he's converted it into like a desert race style.
It was just an interesting couple moments right there. Just a ton of smoke, like you're expecting to see flames, and then as soon as the smoke started up, it went away, and he's still sitting there. So
I wonder if he
obviously the window net's coming up, so something catastrophic happened, and it looks like qualifying effort might be done.
I would say it's quite possibly
for Todd Fry.
A belt issue.
You know,
Burnt up the belt in the
I never thought of
CVT.
that. Yep, that could be it.
So you'll often see this kind of UTV layout in the big desert races where they get the long wheelbase chassis. Can I say chassis here, Scott?
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Don't you guys call it a frame here or something?
Chassis.
Chassis?
Same- yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I'm just making sure I'm speaking English to you guys. So they get the long wheelbase, they pull it to bits, and then they convert it and obviously make the roll cage compliant. And then they go out and rip in the desert.
Okay, this has got ugly written all over it.
Yeah, it's not looking good. This just goes to show that with movement, these guys make this course look quite flat. He backed up, what, 10 feet? Now he's sitting in a sketchy angle.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it looks like we're going to have to take a moment or two to help our track crew get our driver off the course. So in the meantime, let's take a quick break, step aside for a few words from our sponsors.
Give us the work no one else wants to do. We don't just go against the grain, we grow it. Give us the frontiers, the places where success is measured and pushed limits. Give us the middle of nowhere, where the only map is your buddy's tread marks. This life, no one's born ready for it.
What you want? What you want?
No matter where your ride takes you,
What you want? What you want?
whether it's a quick trip or a slow climb, when you choose RCV Performance Axles, you're guaranteed to finish every time.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
We didn't just test the new Optima Yellow Top with Pure Flow technology, we tortured it. King of the Hammers is 181 battery-killing miles of relentless, unforgiving hellishness. It's one thing to call yourself the ultimate power source. It's another thing to prove it. The all-new Optima Yellow Top with Pure Flow technology with up to 3 times the battery life. Unsurpassed performance built to fit today's vehicles. Optima, the ultimate power source.
And we're back. Is our recovery effort still underway? Yeah, I don't think it was a belt, because if it was a belt, he'd just jump out and you'd think he'd just throw one on, right?
Yeah. It might be easier just to get towed out of the way. He might change it off to the side of the track.
Easy anywhere there.
I can spell it.
But Todd Fry appeared to be having a pretty decent run. About 2/3 of the way through the qualifying lap, and just went up in smoke, and a lot of it. But then, as fast as it appeared, it was gone. So it was definitely something catastrophic.
Certainly looks a lot like JT Taylor sitting there in the KOH JL, chief of recoveries.
Yeah.
I would say it's likely to be about.
JT just showing off his brand new, his Rubicon, nice
Yeah.
tires and wheels. And
He's going to go save the day.
So how long have you been watching KOH back at home before you just finally decide, you know what, hon, you and I make a vacation. Let's go have some fun in the States?
Pretty much every year for the last 5 or 6 years. Mainly the main race, just generally because I was working throughout the week when all the rest of the good stuff was on. So the main race, whatever was happening in life, stopped. And I was on the couch from 4 o'clock in the morning till 9, 10 o'clock at night when the race finished. Phone was off,
okay
don't ring me. So, yeah, definitely honored to be here.
Now, a little bit about your background. What is it you do back in
So, at home, we run a TV show called Off-Road Addiction TV. Our goal is to share our passion of wheeling from all around the world with the people at home.
So, what is there a show that your show, is there one here in the States that kind of mirrors what you kind of like geared after, kind of?
Not
give us an idea of what you do.
Really. Basically, we just came up with this idea, and we had run competition, we had competed in a couple of comps, built a rig, and was just kind of like, what's next from here? And we were sitting down watching full drive DVDs, and just sort of popped into my head, why aren't we doing this? And so we just gave it a crack, and my wife does all the editing, and we just kind of share the duties as much as we can. And sort of when I'm not behind the camera, I'm in front of the camera or doing interviews or whatever we need to do to get the job done. So certainly keeps us busy, and we've met some amazing people and seen some amazing locations around the world. It was kind of, we tried to be very different in the way we did it, with the concept of everyone wants to see how everyone else goes wheeling around the world. So we kind of want to bring that all together, and our goal is to grow the off-road community. We live and breathe all things off-road, so it's kind of just sharing our passion with everyone and trying to educate along the way. Safety's always got to be number one with whatever, so try and make it interesting.
Now, is there any chance of your show being picked up by a network here in the States?
We've actually tried a couple of years. We'd come over and we were trying to get it on networks over here. And this year we're actually going to change the format, go down to shorter style, and keep people entertained a little bit better.
So is it a half hour long, or?
Last year was 21.5 minutes. This year we're going to drop it down to about 5 or 6 minutes. Make it more cinematic, but still have the same format with interviews and rig showdowns and stuff like that.
And you do taping all over the world, or you kind of gear it around New Zealand?
As much as the budget allows, we like to get out. We just went to the SEMA show last year and caught up with Dave Cole and a bunch of those guys, and ended up going down to Mexico with them, and they were racing the desert race down there, so we kind of jumped in and did a bit of pre-racing with them. I call it pre-racing because pre-running's when you like sensible. Pre-racing's when you're out to win before the race has started.
Yeah, we used to call it pre-break.
That works.
So we're about five or six cars away from Power Hour, and you were running down some of the names coming out for
I'm
qualifying
looking
in
forward to
that little group. And boy, there's talent from a lot of different facets of off-road racing.
What I like about the Power Hour lineup is we've got short course guys, we've got guys that do desert racing, rock crawling, and everything else in between. So there's not just one skill set coming out to play.
So we'll have to take a look at this. I believe this is Bryce Menzies, who's also out here. Will be running a T1 truck later this week.
He's going to be good to watch. I'm excited for the T1 race. It's definitely Bryce. Very interesting to see he's taking a slightly different line from everyone else.
Yeah, went far to the right. That's actually like a washboard area. I was watching the cars, and they started swapping the last probably 10, 12 of them.
Yep.
Kind of swapped a little bit side to side. And there's been 2, 3 cars that have gone up far to the right, you know, just off, I won't say off course, but to avoid that area.
Yeah, it's he's a very, very skilled driver.
Yeah.
In the T1 stuff. So it's quite cool to see them swap over in something that's a quarter of the size, quarter of the weight, and power.
Yeah, Bryce is looking pretty quick. Yeah, the fast cars that come down to that one point, they almost have to make a complete stop to keep from hitting that big sharp rock and get around it.
Oh, he's got a flat.
Left rear flat, and it looks like his left front is kind of pointing in the wrong direction.
Wonder if he hit that sharp rock that's kind of halfway down that.
Yeah.
I've seen a few guys clip it, a couple go over it.
Yeah, Bryce said has had a tough couple of years, being hurt a couple times, and not being able to race. And let's see where Bryce puts himself in that Amsoil number 7.
That flat definitely cost him some time.
Yeah, it's too bad because he ended up in the 21st qualifying position as of right now with a time of 242.15. 242.15. That'll put him 21st. Bryce Menzies at Amsoil number 7. Yeah, he's not far off. And when I'm looking at the times here, so we're waiting for our next car to take off. When you're looking at 10th place is Jeff McKinley, and he's got a 230. See, 235. And going down to 245 That's 20 cars in 10 seconds. That's pretty tight.
Impressive.
Yeah. So we're giving Randy Jelliffe another chance. He was out on the course earlier this afternoon, and I'm not sure exactly what happened, but the official decided to give him another run, a clean run. So they brought him back and put him in line.
I believe his window net swung open, which is it's a safety requirement that it has to remain closed in case of a rollover, so you can't physically exit the vehicle.
Yeah, was it Randy? Okay. Some of the fans looking down on the race course. Randy is the 67th car to hit the race course this afternoon. Boom, he nails it.
That's the rock. It's caught quite a few people out.
And let's see. David Newell takes the green flag. He's on the course right now as we're waiting for Randy Jelliffe to come back into the short course.
Definitely think the race tomorrow, the top 10 is going to be a good battle. And there's some good names that have fallen to the back of the pack for whatever reason. So I think there's going to be a very, very good battle going on tomorrow.
And it looks like, let's see. And Randy Jelliffe crosses the line with a time of 2:59.77, 2:59.77, and he'll put himself in that 51st qualifying position. As now we're eyeballing for David Newell. Power Hour is just around the corner. And I'm going to look at the newbie. Hey, Diesel, what exactly is Power Hour?
Power Hour? Well, that is where we get some fantastic drivers together for a good old-fashioned entertainment show.
Kind of like the best of the best coming out here and just blitzing the race course.
I'm really looking forward to it. These names are very, very good.
From the desert racing world, the T1 truck world, from the
UTVs.
short course Pro 4 world, from the UTV world, fresh off a run at that car with the Currys. That's just a start off the top of my head of what some of the names that are coming out here. And then you got the Guthries,
Yep.
Perennial favorites, have been doing this for a long, long time. I think since, heck, they probably had Polaris Razor 0001 off the line and raced it here at King of the Hammers.
Tell you what, it's going to be very interesting to see the energy the likes of the Currys bring to the table. Fresh off a win, come out here with all the energy to get themselves into a good spot for tomorrow.
Sounds like a Yamaha that Michael Bostic is driving. You know, one thing we haven't mentioned, Diesel, is the fact that these teams, you know, the event itself is global because we have fans that come from all over the world.
Yes, we do.
And it's really neat to see some of the fans that are tuned in to watch us on the live stream via YouTube, via Facebook, our Facebook page, or our website, and telling us where they're from or where they're watching us from. But also the racers they're every single year more and more and more are coming from whatever prospective country that they're coming from, and this year is no different.
Absolutely not. We've
Even
got
in this
Israel.
class, even in UTVs, not to downplay UTVs as being something more economical or anything,
No.
but they're coming from all over the world to race in the UTV division.
Yeah, we got the team from Belgium in here today. I believe in the main race we got a team from Israel that have come over. We got a bunch of Aussies over here. So it's shaping up to be like an international competition. And every year, you're right, it grows.
I mean, it was kind of one thing that was neat that I saw in the drivers' meeting this morning, and with JT Taylor and Dave Cole up on stage conducting the meeting. I was looking behind them on the stage, and there's a flag from every country that is here represented here by a race team, and it went from one side of the stage all the way across the other, and it's really, really neat to see the camaraderie of all the drivers in the drivers' meeting from different areas. And it's kind of neat to see or actually neat to hear the languages and the accents and everything, the way they all mesh together is kind of cool.
The one thing I've learned over the years of travel is that it doesn't matter what language you actually speak. If you know what part numbers are, you can talk model numbers, you can have a conversation with anyone, anywhere in the world.
So right now we're watching Michael Bostic to come just a moment away from coming into Hammertown as Michael Faltz takes the green flag and he's on his way out of Hammertown.
Michael taking that nice easy low line.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be pushing it too hard, it appears. Did I see a windshield?
You got a windshield.
I could be wrong, but I thought I picked up a windshield. And here comes Michael Bostic. Oh, I was wrong. Let's see. And Michael Bostic's time will put him in the 66th qualifying spot with a time of 3:16:15. 3:16:15 for Michael Bostic. 66th in qualifying. And on the track right now is Michael Faltz in the number 537. I believe. Oh, we got one more car. Okay. Just a few cars remaining before power hour. Let's see if he taps that. There it is. Oh, it just skates by.
Seems to just grab the back wheel a little bit as they're coming around. Some of the guys have gone over it, which I don't know if that's a winning tactic or not.
Ron Schaefer takes a green flag in qualifying. Ron Schaefer out there in the 4911 Polaris. And here comes Michael Faltz. Let's see what time he kicks off. And his time is 3:30.91. 3:30.91. And that put him in the 69th qualifying position. Ron Schaefer is the driver on course right now in the 4911. You know, we talk about, you know, the whole afternoon and how rutted up and beat up the track is. At least on this portion of it, tomorrow, it is going to be unbelievable.
Yep.
Through this section in particular, well, on the whole course that was used as qualifying. Absolutely crazy, gnarly, the condition it's in right now.
It's certainly going to sort the men from the boys, but, well, and the girls. Oh, he's got a flat. He hit
Left
that rock.
rear flat. Yeah, you were watching it too, huh? It doesn't take a lot. And let's see. So doesn't take a lot. I'm kind of surprised. It didn't look like he hit the rock that much or even in the right spot to do anything.
I think the front just clipped it, and it pushed it just the wrong way to face the back.
So left rear flat tires. Ron Schaefer is still on his way in. And now we have Brock Smith on the course in the 1941. And that looks like a big car.
Looks like we got Brock Smith out there.
Ron Schaefer makes his way in. And let's see, Ron's time was 3:11.22, 3:11.22, and that will put him 61st in qualifying for Ron Schaefer. Is right now Brock Smith is the lone car on the course. Even inside a well-insulated, soundproofed production semi, we can hear the big boys lining up right now.
They're definitely getting ready to party.
Kind of wonder if something mechanically happened to Brock Smith because he ain't come around yet. He wasn't overly fast.
No, he looked like he was sort of taking his time, picking his
Yeah.
lines.
I mean, I don't like to say anybody appeared to be slow, but he definitely didn't look quick. And like he was. Let's put it this way: off the last jump before exiting short course, he didn't get off the ground.
No, maybe he was planning on conserving the car. Maybe he had some issues off the line that he knew about, so he's just taking it nice and easy. Here he is.
There we go.
Once again, looks like one of those four-seaters converted.
Yeah, I thought it looked like a big car. That's definitely a desert racing car.
Yeah, I'm just thinking to myself, it's going to be very interesting tomorrow to see the difference between the longer wheelbase in the rocks and then the short wheelbase guys in the desert sections.
Jacob Versi on the course. He's usually a very quick car. One of the more experienced drivers in this class.
Like Brock's back in Hammertown.
And let's see, 4:23.87 for Brock Smith. He'll qualify in that 72nd position. And Jacob Versi now just out of sight, making an up-10 turn.
Looked like he had a lot of pace on before he disappeared out of sight.
Yeah, he's got it built up, that's for sure. Look like he just misses that torpedo that's been taking everybody out.